What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got a brief video that I want to make for you guys. It's mostly going to be centered around the coronavirus, seeing as how it is very much affecting the NFL and everywhere. Almost everything is getting shut down. Travel, schools are getting shut down, right? Everything's getting shut down. I actually am going to be temporarily out of work because of it. Hopefully very temporarily. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but certainly I'll be temporarily out of work. So it's spreading and it's affecting everything, but it is also affecting sports. The Masters got postponed. The NBA has suspended everything for the foreseeable future until this goes over. MLB, NHL, everything, right? Everything. So and as far as the NFL goes, as of right now, the draft is still expected to go down, but that's not until the end of April. So we still do have a month and a half, hopefully. And it did just get declared a national emergency today. Although, while that is a good thing, it may be a little bit late because it's already here and it's, starting to spread like fucking wildfire. And we still don't really have much of a treatment or even testing kits in this country to get people tested. Anyway, point is though, hopefully we do, or can get it under wraps soon, but it is going to affect things at least for the next, the next 2 to 3 weeks for sure. And so, the NFL has stopped, they put a ban on college football visits. In other words, players going to team facilities to visit teams or whatever for interviews. And they're pretty much shutting everything down right now. Teams are not sending reps out to pro days and stuff like that. Pro days are being canceled, all of that stuff. So, but interestingly enough, the Dolphins did get a couple guys in today for pre-draft visits, including Utah State's quarterback Jordan Love, which there have been reports that the Dolphins might skip on Tua to take Jordan Love, whatever. I mean, look, I've been saying this from the very beginning that they're going to take a quarterback. They will most likely move up in the draft to do so. I believe they will do that to go to most likely the number 3 spot. But I've been saying that I don't know who it's going to be. It could be Tua. It could be Herbert. They could go to the number 1 spot to get Burrow. But it's whoever that Stephen Ross, ultimately, they will take the quarterback that Stephen Ross wants. So maybe it ends up being Jordan Love. I don't know. But J.K. Dobbins, the Ohio State running back, also made it in. And the ban is implemented for college football players to visit teams is at the end of business today. So they were able to squeak those visits in, right before this ban on college football players being able to visit teams and stuff like that. So anyway, like I said though, so for the next few weeks at least, we can expect this to have an impact on the NFL. Now we have to wait and see exactly how far this is going to go. Again, I mean, like I said, while it is good that the national emergency has been implemented by, our government, and, states have been doing it, for the past few days and so on and so forth, it may be a bit late because it's already here and it is already spreading like crazy. So we are in a stage where we are playing catch up with this whole situation as opposed to, playing, prevention. So we'll have to see how long it plays out. It is possible that it could extend towards the draft, which I'm not exactly how sure that would actually affect it. I mean, theoretically, they could just cancel the live event and just do it somewhat like, I don't know, makeshift live stream fucking Roger Goodell at his fucking dinner table announcing the picks. I don't know, dude. I don't know. So, but there is significant, but then, depending on how long this goes, I mean, I suppose theoretically there is potential that it could even reach into training camp. Hopefully not. Hopefully it doesn't take us months to get this shit under wraps, but you never know. And if it does, obviously that could have some pretty substantial ramifications going forward into this next season. But and while I will say that it is, I would think that it's pretty unlikely that it would last, you know, the next few months. I hope not, because that would be super shitty, and that means that I would be out of work for a very long time, and that's not good at all. So hopefully not, but if it did, it would just, or despite that rather, regardless of whether it does or not, this situation is just yet another situation that I've been alluding to. Not specifically, right? Because there's no way that I could have been able to predict that, you know, the coronavirus was going to come around and that it was actually going to have an effect on football. But one of the chief reasons why I've been arguing against the Dolphins' approach and philosophy since the beginning, or since the offseason last year after they fired Adam Gase, is that their game plan is way too risky. It involves way too many unknowns and things that could throw wrenches into the cogs that could disrupt the whole system. It's a bet, right? There's like, you know, they're just betting. It's a bet, right? Like, it's a gamble. They're gambling. It's not like, you know, because like a lot of their players that were sure things like Minkah Fitzpatrick and Laramie Tunsil and blah, 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 what have you, those are for sure commodities that you know exactly what you're going to get out of them, etc. And now the Dolphins' entire organization is still in a massive state of chaos, and any little thing could, you know, disrupt their, you know, rebuilding process, blah, 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 as I've been saying. And this, again, even if this doesn't stretch out for the next few months, it is already starting to disrupt. And in fact, it has, because now, you know, teams are going to be unable to go see, you know, pro days, and they could reschedule them, of course, and they likely will. But this puts, you know, this puts a delay or a halt to a lot of the operations that teams would go through to do evaluating on players and so on and so forth. And so far over the past year with this organization and the people who are leading it, i.e. Stephen Ross, Brian Flores, Reggie McKenzie, Marvin Allen, and Chris Greer, they haven't proven to be very good at their player evaluation and talent evaluation to this point. So, you know, they could certainly use all of the time possible, but, you know, anyway, so we'll see if that ends up having any major ramifications down the road. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. I do likely think that they will obviously schedule more pro days and stuff. I mean, you know, Tua's pro day isn't supposed to be until April 9th, so they certainly got time, but it does delay the process and keep, you know, stabs from being able to go out to pro days and talk to guys, or them be able to bring in, you know, guys for visits. And in fact, the Dolphins apparently brought in Dobbins and Jordan Love today before the ban, because they're partly worried that the 30 visits could be canceled later. Right, and those are their teams are allowed to bring in 30 players that are not local, right? So the Dolphins can bring in as many local players from, you know, like the University of Miami, which is an advantage actually that the Dolphins do have and other South Florida teams, because they are in an area where there are really good schools that they can bring in unlimited amounts of prospects from to interview, so on and so forth. But then they have 30 visits from, you know, players from teams and colleges across the country that they can bring in. So they are partially worried that those visits may end up getting canceled because of the coronavirus. So after all of that, we just kind of, again, we have to wait and see, but it is just, you know, more difficulties along the way in this supposed, and look, I mean, it just, I find it unimaginable that people still have this idea and prospect that we're going to have some amazing turnaround 2020 season. I mean, okay, I hope so, but it just, anyway, you guys get it. I've said it a million times. It just, the data doesn't add up, but okay. I mean, it is what it is. We'll see how this season plays out. If we even end up having a season, who knows? Maybe maybe this season ends up getting, you know, squashed because, you know, coronavirus. Hopefully not. I mean, that would be a major disaster if it lasted that long, but you never know. Just a real quick other side note before I get out of here too. You know, I have read some other articles and stuff on the CBA that's going on right now. This, you know, collective bargaining agreement. And I didn't want to do a whole thing because I've talked about it quite a bit lately. But I did read an article from a young player who's been in the league for just, I think it was like 3 or 4 years now. He's been mostly a practice squad player, so he's a fringe guy. He even said that in his own article, but throughout the article, he outlines why the collective bargaining agreement that is currently on the table is marginal at best for the players, but, you know, substantial gains for, you know, the NFL and the owners, etc., and why, you know, they should vote no overall. Now, we still do have to wait and see. As it stands right now, tomorrow is the deadline for the CBA, so all of the players should get their votes in. I don't know if they're going to plan to extend it anymore. Probably not. So we should have word tomorrow on whether or not it passes. So that will be an interesting bit of information to get out there. Also, obviously, for at least the next couple weeks, because of this coronavirus shit, I am, like I said, you know, expecting to be out of work. So, as long as there's news, I'll be making videos. So we'll see. We'll see. There should be at least some stuff to talk about with this coronavirus and the CBA, and free agency is about to pop. So there should be information and news and stuff to talk about. So we'll get to that as we get to it. And since I, you know, am expecting to have some time available, then expect those videos almost as soon as the you know, the news comes out. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys enjoy my videos and perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.